What is crack-a-lackin' tech? Yes, citizens, I am back down under in Australia. And that's the Navi taking us to the first deal that we have lined up in Melbourne, of all places, where we're doing this month, well, actually last month, it's a late, the parts hunt of the month. And in Melbourne, I've never done parts hunting here before, but I'm here for PAX to film for the event. And I thought I'm gonna make time this time to go and see what the used PC parts market is like here, because a lot of you guys have been requesting that before COVID when we were doing events down here. People were like, you got to do a parts hunt down here. So I was like, all right, I'm going to make time on the Saturday to go do a parts hunt down under in Melbourne. So what we've done right now is we've put out so many different feelers. There's actually a lot of overpriced parts on the marketplace, but of course, just dropping in those offers that I think are fair for parts, and people coming back to me. If they want to negotiate, they can. A lot of people have actually been ignoring me so far, but we did find one deal already, i7 6800K, and they initially dropped it from $100 down to 80, but then I said, what's your best price? They said 70, and I said, would you take 60? And also the funny thing is, they said initially no, and then I said, what about some of the free merch? That's going to actually be a little bit of an angle I'm taking here today, grabbing some of the free stuff from PAX and using it to barter a little bit, because hey, got to always use what advantage you can when you can, especially when it comes to getting deals. So let's get straight into it, see what this first deal's about, and then see if we come back with any more deals. But we're also going to check out some places that sell secondhand parts, namely cash converters. So that'll be interesting. So let's get right into it right after this sponsor spot.
Never pay full price for Windows 10 or 11 again. With today's video sponsor, SCD Keys, you can get activated for as little as $15 using that coupon, BFTYC. Links in the description below.
So we have now just picked up the 6800K i7. Now I really like this CPU because the more you go up in those numbers, especially with an i7 asphyxiated before it, and the cheaper you get it for, that means a total sale of more profits on your final flip. And this CPU for 60 Aussie dollars, which would be off the top of my head under 40 USD, is an absolute bargain. So that is a really good deal, especially to pop the Melbourne cherry in terms of getting good deals down here. Now, mind you, I have been looking through Gumtree and Facebook Marketplace and just spamming offers, and not many people are getting back to me even with like renegotiation. So I'm guessing in Melbourne, the trend here is a little bit different up north versus Queensland, where it's like people are more negotiable in terms of widening offers, because I'm coming in quite under with these offers. Because for instance, I messaged someone about a RTX 3050 and they get back to me and they're like, I want 370. And it's like, I can't even go anywhere with that, because the max I would be prepared to even pay for a 3050 would be like 200 Aussie dollars on the used market. And 370 is just way out. So there's no point me even replying with a price that high. So there is a lot of overpriced parts in Melbourne. And so it's either the sellers aren't getting back to me because my offers are too low, or I'm not getting back to them because they're way too far off the mark. So it's an interesting dynamic. Again, always love a challenge, but we've got a 3060 Ti lined up here where they're asking 360 Aussie. I'm dropping in 300. They came back at 315. I'm like, look, 300 and a free backpack that I scored from PAX. So we're gonna see if they take that. And I'm like, look, I want this deal. And so we're gonna see if we can kind of get them over the finishing line with the 300 and a free backpack that I scored from PAX. So hopefully fingers crossed for that. And also, I think there may be some people selling PC parts on the actual showroom floor of PAX. But what we're gonna do right now is actually go to a place called Cash Converters in Melbourne, because people are telling me here as well, you can sometimes rarely find a good deal at Cash Converters. So we'll go check out what they've got on the shelves in stock and see if there's any good used PC parts there.
Deep down in my soul,
So we just got done at 3 different pawnbrokers, one of those being the cash converters place for starters, and they had like nothing really except in terms of PC stuff, maybe like a keyboard, which I wasn't interested in, and then they also had an Alienware, and they were asking way too much for it considering it was RTX 3000 series, and it was like 3,800 Aussie. I'm just thinking, man, this is a cash converter's bust. But then across the road, I went to another pawnbroker and they were cash for anything. And they had laptops, but I'm not interested in laptops. And I asked them if they had any desktop parts. And then they were like, look, there's a guy up the street called Tony at Treasures for Param that might have something. I went up there, asked if they had anything. And they said, nope, they don't have any desktop parts. But he did say they do come into some used PCs from time to time. So it just wasn't that weekend for it. Anyhow, we ended up, in that time, going between these places in Melbourne, we ended up getting a hit back on a deal that I put out a feeler for, and that was an i7 4770. They're asking 40 Aussie, which is already really decent price. I just said 30, and then they got back and said, sure, come pick it up. And then the problem was, when they gave me the address, it's all the way in like Canberra, which is like a 10-hour drive. And I'm thinking to myself, how did that come up on my Facebook when I set a 20-kilometer radius around where I am right now? So that was really bizarre. I apologized to the dude and said, look, how much for postage? So we've organized $5 postage. So that is a deal I will get. It's 35 Aussie dollars posted for the i7 4770. So I feel bad because I was the idiot who messaged him first. So, and then I said, and we checked the address like in Canberra. I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. So we've got that deal still. Everyone's still happy there. But then we're trying to organize this 3060 Ti. I'm messaging them and they're responding, but they've got to go through their husband or something because she's selling it for her husband. So I'm trying to get that deal before it gets too late. And in terms of other deals, it's just been a bust where people want, say, like they'll want 45 Aussie dollars for 16 gigabytes of DDR4 memory. And it's like, you can buy it brand new for $50. What's the point? There's no point in getting a 10% discount on used parts if that's all you're getting on a used deal, because you've got that risk there. Regardless, you've got that risk and you want a premium drop on the price if you're taking that risk. So yeah, some of the sellers here are just living in la la land when it comes to Melbourne, and it shows, and they're just not willing to budge at all. And so I just see a lot of parts just sitting on there for months and months at a time when you look at the time it's been listed for. So I don't know if that's a thing in Melbourne, but yeah, there's just a lot of parts that just sit there for a long time. And I've noticed as well, there's so many people selling gaming PCs because I'm just looking for the parts, and all these gaming PCs just getting flooded in my face. So I'd say if I had to give you guys a guess already on the Melbourne market, it's very tough. I think you're only going to sort of get in with knowing someone like I know on the Gold Coast, like St. Les. You've got someone who's got this constant influx of used PCs from either recycling centers and stuff like that. You got that contact, because hitting the marketplace here is very competitive just to get some kind of good deal, and you've got to waste a lot of time doing that. So if you've got contacts down here and they're good contacts, then I'd be maybe buying them some beers and stuff as well and saying, hey, thanks, because it's pretty rough here, brothers. That's my first impressions. But yeah, let's keep this parts hunt going and see what else pops up. So we just got done at picking up an RTX 3060 Ti in a place called Vermont. It's not too far from the PAX Arena, so that was good. The drive wasn't too long. And I checked out the card. They ended up meeting up a shopping center outside of Coles, and I just think they didn't want to give out their address because it was a lady selling it. So I was like, okay, that's fair enough. And so when I checked it out, the card it's like it's brand new. So I think there's a very small chance of me getting hosed. She said I was very persistent on the deal because she wanted to sell it at a bit higher, but she didn't want the backpack. So I was like, take the backpack with the 300 Aussie cash And she didn't care about the backpack in the end. She's like, give me the 300 cash. So we ended up scoring this 3060 Ti, decent deal for that price. I'll put the USD pricing up on the screen for you guys. But that's another deal we landed in Melbourne, decent price, especially considering the card is in this kind of condition. And so, yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. So let's get back now. We're kind of going to go back because there is a deal. Like someone's selling a deal right in the Melbourne CBD, like right near PAX for an RX 6700. And they also got some other stuff available or something like that. So we're going to get back to the city, see what else, other deals we can get pop-a-lopping here. And it's Melbourne, yeah, it's not too bad. Like I'm enjoying this parts hunt. Things are, from what I was told from friends in Melbourne, I was kind of expecting a bit worse, but it's not bad. So I'm pretty happy right now. So we are back at the convention center now, and there was a guy walking around PAX holding up his smartphone with prices for an RX 6700 and also 32 gigabytes of DDR4 memory. And the prices he was asking were like, eh. So we offered him 300 for the lot and he took it. So he also threw this in as well, which is actually pretty decent. Dual band Wi-Fi card. Now, if your Wi-Fi ever blows out on a motherboard, especially a mini ITX motherboard, it's always good to have one of these as backup. So actually, let me know what you think of this deal. I'm going to be honest, it's kind of hard to move AMD GPUs in Australia, especially in Australia, in gaming PCs. That's one thing I've noticed getting back. So, for instance, since I've been back in the last few days, I've got 2 RTX 3060 PCs already flipped. And the 3060 12 gigabyte is like the main one for doing just all-round like go-to flips. I mean, rightfully so, it's the number one graphics card on Steam. So that Steam survey should give you an idea of what people are looking for in terms of GPUs and whatnot. But we're back, man, and I think, like, with that said, the sun is starting to go down a little bit. A lot of people, and I'm gonna reiterate, like, re-stress this, a lot of people did not get back to me with deals. And whether it was offering or being, just what we said before, they just didn't get back to us. And so I think if you're deals hunting in Melbourne, you've just got to be on the go and you've just got to keep going. Someone doesn't get back to you, all right, on to the next person. If they're kind of conversing with you, like that 3060 Ti, and they're right on the edge, I was like doing please symbols in my messages and stuff. I was like, please, please let this happen. And they said, over the edge, they said we were so persistent that we ended up getting that deal. So it worked out here at Melbourne on a Saturday on PAX. And we actually did PAX yesterday, like the event, and we checked out all the goodness there. So stay tuned for that video. I actually want to give you guys the parts hunt in Melbourne first because it's the stuff that I enjoy the most. It gets my brain fired up, figuring out deals, what's the best price points, what's the metas, what's the go. But in terms of Melbourne, it's a different environment and different sort of, especially if you're parts hunting, it's a different environment to Queensland, where I'm from up north with the Gold Coast and Brizzy. I think deals hunting up there is a lot easier to get deals. And even Japan, I think, is a lot easier to get deals than it is in Melbourne. That's just my overall sort of vibe here. But that being said, new PC parts here are pretty well, like they're pretty good, pretty well priced. So I would always hold those new prices in your head, especially if you're looking for used deals down here. Anyway, guys, we are going to fly out back to the Gold Coast tomorrow morning. If any of you guys, for the people I've seen so far, thank you so much for coming up to us and saying hey. Always great to meet people in the lovely city of Melbourne. And with that aside, actually we'll put the total tally of this last month's parts hunt, because it was late, the Melbourne special up on the screen for you. Do let us know your favorite deal of today. I love reading your thoughts in the comments. As always, do let us know what deals you have been picking up personally. What's your main meta right now? I'm thinking, like for me personally, main meta is looking for Ryzen 7, i7, and RTX 3060. That's just like, that is the PC right now that is the main seller if you're looking for a gaming PC. Of course, you've got to have that RGB bling in there. and that's like the main seller where you're gonna flip it, make a few bucks. But anyway, guys, enjoy this content. Do say sub, hit that sub button, ring that bell, and I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now from Pax. Bye.